one thing I can be 100% sure is that everybody loves chocolate. And now hear me out. From the Americas to Europe to Asia and to Africa, everybody around the world can all agree on the fact that chocolate is amazing. And thank God we have it in our life. The only exception, of course, is that if you're allergic to it, and in that case, it sucks for you. But chocolate, for all the pleasures it has brought us, chocolate is slowly but surely disappearing from our existence. And in this video, we're gonna talk about it. There's a study that actually says that chocolate might disappear in 40 years. And all of that due to the climate changes that are occurring, and which is going to make it way harder for the cacao plant to actually survive in the climate that projections have it for 2050, for example. And as soon as people knew about it online, that was it. They started freaking out. T-shirts were made and mugs were created with slogans like "Save our planets." It's the only one with chocolate. The current demand for cocoa exceeds supply, with the International Cocoa Organization having forecasted a deficit of 462,000 for the 2023-2024 season, which just ended. Cocoa prices have declined recently but still remain high due to persistent supply constraints from bad weather conditions, aged trees, pests, and diseases. But originally, where do you think this study came from? Maybe we should investigate a little bit into where, like, the sources of that study. And apparently the story originated with an article on Business Insider warning the cacao plants, which is the source of chocolate, which are slated to disappear as early as 2050 thanks to warmer temperatures and drier weather conditions. And furthermore, it went to say that scientists at the University of California, UC Berkeley, are teaming up with the candy producer called Mars to try to save the crop before it's too late. So basically, if the companies and the people don't do anything about it, chocolate will disappear in the future. And no one really wants that. I mean, it's one of the unique foods that around the world, generally everybody agrees that is one of the greatest products ever created. And so getting rid of it will create a big void, I'm telling you. And thank God, because they found out that the original article had very inaccurate information about it. So let's see why. The science communication manager at UC Berkeley, called Megan Hochstrasser, told everybody that the chocolate is not on track to go extinct in 40 years. So is chocolate going to disappear or not disappear? What's gonna happen? It feels like all the scientists are not agreeing on this one. So what's going on, you know? So let's see what it's all about. Oh, and by the way, don't forget your boy, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. It motivates me greatly to make even more and better videos. Subscribe to the channel and comment down below. Thank you so much. As the Business Insider story correctly reported, the research team is working with scientists from the Mars company, but their goal is not to generate cacao trees that will grow at higher temperatures, but to make plants resistant to viral and fungal diseases. And so that way, the company pledged $1 billion as a part of an effort called Sustainability in a Generation, who aims to reduce the carbon footprint of its business and supply chain by more than 60% by 2050. And in here you also have Barry Parkin, which is the Mars Chief Sustainability Officer, who also said, "We're trying to go all in here. There are obviously commitments the world is leaning into, but frankly, we don't think we're getting there fast enough collectively." A fungus has plagued cacao plants in South America for decades. The scientists are using CRISPR gene editing to tweak the DNA of the cacao to make it more disease resistant. The Business Insider article refers to a 2014 study by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, indicating that under a business as usual scenario, the world's leading chocolate producer, Côte d'Ivoire and Ghana, might experience a 3.8 Fahrenheit increase in temperature by 2050 and may no longer be able to cultivate cacao. And now they all agree that the climate change is going to affect the cacao plants, you know? And knowing that the vast majority of cacao is actually produced in West Africa, and at the same time, the higher temperatures are actually rising more and more, that actually can change how sustainable the land for the production of those trees is, which in turn could spread up the diseases. But at the same time, not to the point of extinction of chocolate. Over half of the world's chocolate is made in Africa. So for example, in Cote d'Ivoire and in Ghana. But cacao is also produced in the Caribbean, in Australia, and in India. Berkeley researchers are reportedly exploring the use of a new gene editing technology that could manipulate the DNA of cacao plants. If successful, the scientist says the crop's seedling would be able to survive in drier and hotter climates. So if everything goes well, we might still have chocolate until the end of times in a way. Because if we always change a little bit of that gene that makes the chocolate and makes it more resistant to its climate in a way and its environment, we're good to go. And all of that is thanks to science. Yes, science! But cacao plants, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, are sensitive. In fact, cacao trees can only grow about 20 degrees north and south of the equator and need rainforest-like conditions or fairly uniform temperatures, high humidity, abundant rain, nitrogen-rich soil, and protection from the wind. And it doesn't end there. It's because it's not all about the climate change. Other factors also threaten the future of chocolate, and I'll let you know which ones are in play. Farmer poverty continues to be a major issue despite various initiatives and schemes by producer governments, organizations, cooperatives, and individual brands. In the Ivory Coast, for instance, a mere 13% of cocoa farming household earns a living income, according to the Rainforest Alliance. The situation is even worse in Ghana, where only 10% of farmers achieve a living income as reported by Oxfam America. And several factors contribute to this situation where farmers are actually poor. And the first one is low farm gate prices. Farm gate prices are the prices farmers receive for their cocoa. In West Africa, these do not often reflect the cost of production or the farmer's cost of living. This means farmers' expenditures usually exceed income, making it impossible for farmers to save or reinvest. Which leads us to our second one, which is how they don't have no money to invest in nothing. So they cannot invest in equipment, they cannot make their situations even better, no nothing. Farmers need to replace aging trees, hire labor, and purchase essential inputs like fertilizers. This is particularly challenging for female-led farming households and older farmers. The International Cocoa Initiatives found that in Ghana, only 36% of farmers could afford farming inputs in nearly 30 cocoa farming communities. That leads me to our third point. The third, small farm sizes. Over 70% of cocoa global supply comes from farmers in West Africa, majority of whom are smallholder households with farm sizes that average between 3.65 and 4.17 hectares. Their low yields don't meet the exceeding 800 kilograms per hectare for Fairtrade's living income reference price to work. And then you got crop diseases. Diseases like black pot rot, capside, and cocoa swollen shoot virus diseases severely lower yields, with CSSVD alone causing 15 to 50% yield loss. With already low incomes, farmers are unable to effectively fight back these attacks. And that leads us to our number 5. The industry-wide inability to tackle farmer poverty. There's no consensus on methods to calculate a living income for cocoa farmers. Pricing interventions such as premiums on top of farm gate prices have been implemented, but these measures are not enough to bridge the living income gap. And through it all, people keep to persist to say that fake chocolate is not the future of chocolate. By that I mean the chocolate that you transform genetically in a way. Since cocoa prices soared, chocolate lovers have paid for it through skyrocketed chocolate prices. And some chocolate makers have to do sometimes some very shady stuff in a way. Some chocolate makers had to face the temptation to shrink packages size for the same prices, or increase the prices actually. Or even more seriously, they will even replace the whole chocolate ingredients and replace them with other ingredients that look like or smells like chocolate or whatever, and make it look like, yeah, we're just selling you this kind of chocolate that looks like the best chocolate ever, for example, which is a scam. Don't buy that chocolate, guys. But that's crazy how some people can turn to situations like this and to do stuff like that. Everybody loves the real chocolate and no one wants that fake shit in a way. And for every challenge to sustainable cocoa farming, there's a solution that doesn't have to cut out cocoa from recipes, because at the same time, fake chocolate is not the real thing. And at the same time, you go against the livelihood of millions of people that are actually producing real chocolate every day, which is, in my opinion, not very ethical in a way. Even if fake chocolate makers claim environmental considerations, ethical should mean being fair to everyone in the value chain. Ethical means being fair to everyone by having the real product. And now about what's being done, it is the role of everybody to do something about it. Me included, you included watching this video, everybody included, all the companies included, so that we don't lose chocolate by 2050. And there are many initiatives. The first one is small brands with shorter value chains. At Bantu Chocolate, they decided to farm cacao and make chocolate with beans from farms so that they could control the value chains. Regenerative agriculture beyond fair trade wages and direct community involvement are the ways they ensure that the supply chain stays sustainable and ethical, which means they are not going extinct anytime soon. That leads me to the number 2, open chains and direct trade. Open chains and direct trade ensures premiums go directly to farmers as income instead of through cooperative. Very important. Third one, other initiatives. Several organizations have launched initiatives to promote sustainable cocoa production. Some focus in developing diseases-resistant cacao species, and others work on improving farmer well-being. The Global Sustainable Cocoa Initiative is a collaborative effort between the Food and Agriculture Organization and the European Union, supports the long-term economic, social, and environmental sustainability of cocoa value chains in Ivory Coast, Ghana, and Cameroon. Launched in response to the 2019 Living Income Differential introduced by the government of Ivory Coast, this initiative addresses low farmer incomes, deforestation, and child labor. And now for what you or I can do. We can support ethical brands. Choose chocolate brands that prioritize transparency about their cocoa sourcing practices. Look for companies that disclose information about their supply chains. Ensure that cocoa beans are sourced from farmers who receive fair prices and work in safe conditions. Second one, hold the companies accountable. Demand sustainability and accountability from chocolate companies. Encourage brands to adopt farmer-friendly practices such as higher prices for cocoa beans. Also, advocate for openness about traceability that can allow consumers to know the origin of cocoa beans. And the third one, and last, raise awareness. Educate your social networks about the challenges faced by cocoa farmers like low incomes. This way you can inspire others to make informed purchases and promote positive change within the chocolate industry. And so if everybody sticks together and everybody makes an effort, chocolate will exist forever. That is 100% sure. And with all the problems that chocolate is going through, I understand people are scared, people are concerned about the disappearance of chocolate in a few years. But I'm here to let you know, and scientists are also here to let you know, that if we make the right decisions, chocolate will stay forever. And everybody can taste chocolate when they're 100 years old, hopefully. And on that note, guys, thank you for staying until the end of this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Your boy appreciate the efforts a lot. And comment down below which chocolate is your favorite one. Let me know. And on that note, peace.